Welcome back to Newsmax Prime. We're glad to have you with us. I'm J.D. Hayworth, and it seems that all of us are awaiting that Supreme Court decision on Obamacare subsidies. If the High Court rules against those subsidies, it would mean that millions of Americans will lose tax credits that help them pay for health care coverage. Obviously, a topic worthy of discussion. And joining us now, the president of the Pacific Research Institute, Sally Pipes. She's Skyping in from San Francisco. And from our Newsmax TV newsroom, we welcome in Newsmax Deputy Health Editor Tate, who is also the co-author of Da Vinci's Baby Boomer Survival Guide. You both have our thanks, and we appreciate your time here on Newsmax Prime. Sally, this whole question about people affected by a loss of these subsidies, how many people do you think are going to be affected, and are there truly adverse effects if the court rules against these subsidies?
Well, the number that is being put out there right now is about 6.4 million are in the 34 or 37 states that are part of healthcare.gov. And of course, as you know, the president thought that every state would set up their own exchange, and those that did are having trouble. So of those 6.4 million, it's interesting, according to Doug Holtz-Eakin, 79% of those people had health coverage before, and they just transferred in to get the subsidies. I am not, I just think that if the court rules in the way I would like it to rule that the subsidies, in fact, are illegal to those on the federal exchanges, I think there's some things that can be done, i.e. giving power back to the states. I am not on board with this whole transition of, keeping the subsidies alive for 6 months or a year, continuing them, because I think, if you start doing Obamacare light and start doing little fixes, pretty soon, these little fixes that are temporary will end up being full time, and we will have a hard time getting rid of the law. So give the power back to the states and set up a system of refundable tax credits that are based on age, not on income.
Well, Sally, politically and philosophically, I'm inclined to agree with you, and yet Tate, a while back, former Speaker Newt Gingrich was with us. He said if the subsidies went away, there'd be a situation, people on chemotherapy right now, people who needed some sort of continuity, and that's why he said there needed to be a temporary fix. How do you think this is all going to shake out if the court rules against the subsidies?
Well, if in fact 6.5 million people lose hundreds or perhaps thousands of dollars to buy their own health insurance, they're probably not going to buy it, which could put folks at risk if in fact they lose those subsidies and can't afford their health insurance. But, look, I do think that the Supreme Court ruling, if in fact it does strike down the subsidies, really hands a terrific opportunity to the Republicans and Democrats who've been critical of Obamacare to come up with an alternative plan. I don't think that anyone would dispute that health care needed some changes prior to the passage of Obamacare. Now, we can argue whether Obamacare was the fix or whether it was the cure that was worse than the disease. But there were problems with increased rates of premium hikes going up. People with pre-existing conditions could not get insurance. There were other problems as well. And the Republicans do have a variety of plans that would address those issues, but they have yet to really coalesce around a single plan that could be presented as an alternative to Obamacare. I think if the Supreme Court strikes down the subsidies, we're very likely to get a plan like that that will become the focus of the debate.
Well, Sally, you touched on what you thought might be a remedy if the court rules against Obamacare. Expound upon that. In a perfect world, what would you like to see, Sally?
Well, of course, and as Nick just said, there's not just one Republican plan out there. There are probably 6 or 7 that are being debated. But as Senator Barrasso and Senator McConnell and as Paul Ryan have said, the Republicans won't be producing a plan until after the Supreme Court rules. My plan would be somewhat similar to what Budget Director of the House, Dr. Tom Price, has done. Immediately end the employer mandate, end the individual mandate. The federal government would provide to the states age-based refundable tax credits. So this would deal with the problem of the people who, the 6.4 million, they would be eligible for these refundable tax credits based on their age. And of course, the subsidy, the tax credit would be higher for those people over 50 than it is for those people, those young people. So that I would like to see that. I would like to see expansion of the health savings accounts, which puts consumers and doctors back in charge of their health care. I think people should be able to buy health insurance across state lines. These are all things that I believe should be in a plan that will bring about affordable, accessible, quality care for all Americans. As you probably heard, even under Obamacare, the insurance companies are predicting in the states massive premium increases for 2016 and 2017.
We will have to leave it there. Sally Pipes, our thanks to you, checking in from San Francisco, and Nick Tate from our newsroom. And we should point out that if you need some preventive medicine in terms of your financial situation as a baby boomer, you can learn how to survive the baby boomer financial crisis with a newly released book, Da Vinci's Baby Boomer Survival Guide. Here's where you find out more. The website, babyboomers711.com. We thank you both for your comments, and we're coming back with more.